Very welcome to tonight's webinar, all about Omnitas' new custom ticketing portal. With you here tonight is, of course, me, as usual, your moderator, Frederick Casterholm, and my ever comrade, Thomas Carlson, and who's also happens to be the product owner of the ticketing portal. So I'm not going to shut away. Instead, I leave it up to you, Thomas, to give us the great big tour of this splendid new ticketing portal.
Welcome to Omnitas Ticketing Portal webinar, powered by Make, formerly Integromat. The ticketing portal that we're going to be showing you today is based on monday.com and powered by Make. So it does need a combination of those two services. But as a portal in itself, it could in theory use whichever database we want. It's just that Monday happens to be very nice and working really well with Make.
Yeah, and we happen to work quite a lot with it.
Yeah. So before I start showing you the portal, I just want to show you the conceptually parts of how everything actually works so we understand what we will be looking at later. This is it. This schematics. It's like super clear, right? We don't need to explain it, but
no, I think we can just jump on from here. Everything.
So we have someone, a client, a colleague, because the cool thing with a ticketing portal is that it can also be used for internal uses. We actually have the first customer used this for the graphical or marketing team to manage orders from without the whole organization. So this little beige character in that case was actually a colleague in another department. But you start a process by generating a form, and monday.com with work forms, quite easy, quite simple. We're still using the basic ones for today's webinar because that shouldn't be the main focus. The form generates an item in Monday. Obviously, someone at the company or in the agency gets notified, and they start working the ticket just like any other ticket that you see in Monday, right? So that's not the particular thing about this portal. What also happens is that Make will get a webhook, and we will learn that there's a new ticket. We will send an email to the person saying, thank you for submitting your ticket. Here's your ticket number. If you want to check how your ticket is doing, you can go straight to this URL. And there's also a login portal if you have multiple tickets, because some of the organizations will have single tickets. Some organizations might have multiple tickets per submittee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is being managed by Make. And Make is then also presenting the actual portal. So when the user clicks and gets to the portal, in this example, we have shown you a two-way. So first, you get to a place where you can see all your tickets, the name of them, the deadline, type and status, just as two examples. And then when you click them, that's when you get all the information. And as you see, we can have a chat about it. And the chat will then go back into Monday, and it's really cool because all we're doing is using the update features of monday.com, basically the chat bubble, to generate all this conversation. So we also can set up webhooks. So when an operator, agent, support person, or when they write something for the client, they will automatically, if we choose to, get an email saying like, hey, there's a new comment on your ticket, please click this link, and then they can get straight into the ticket as well. So that's really cool to know. Obviously, I know this a little more by heart than you do, Frederick. Is there something that was unclear, something that you would like me to clarify as part of this slide here?
Yeah, so coming back to having that communication back and forth. So we can do that with people that have no Monday account whatsoever, especially not my Monday account.
Correct.
So we don't need to fiddle about with guest passes or viewer permissions or anything. It just, there's
and that's the whole point with a portal. If if you're fine with using guest access in Monday, to be honest, you don't need a portal. A portal is when you need to interact with people that shouldn't even be guests. They shouldn't even be viewers, even if we have item level permission enabled. A viewer with item level permission cannot communicate. They cannot add files. They cannot update the ticket. And this is what you want. You want to have a two-way communication or a two-way collaboration even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how nice wouldn't it be just being, hey, dude, you didn't remember to upload all the files. Please do that.
Yeah, and actually, we do have one example, I think, where we can even see that you can actually share files to the person receiving it. So the beige person here. Do we want to jump in and look check what it looks like?
I think that's about where we're going.
Yeah, cool. Yep. So just to add some complexity to this, in our Monday board, we have a ticketing name, a responsible person, a general status for the ticket. We just wanted a status column with type 1, 2, 3, and 4, just to be able to show additional information, some kind of deadline, a longer description. And then we wanted to do something really cool. We have who's the owner of the ticket, and is there anyone else in my organization involved in this ticket? So in this setup, we can actually see the difference between tickets we own and tickets where we are collaborators, as we're calling it. And obviously in the form, we had a very simple little checkbox, right? But we used a normal Monday form: ticket name, type, deadline, description, ticket owner, stakeholder, and then we have the little consent form down here. And I wanted to show you one of, I think it's this one. Yeah. So as you can see, new comment, testing communication, test reply. And this is an image uploaded into the updates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quite cool. So this ticket is ticket number 1. It belongs to Lucas. So let's jump into the portal and look at how it looks like. So we have, it's done, right? We have a description. We have a bit of stakeholders. You are the owner of the ticket, Frederick, just so you know. I hope you've done what you're supposed to.
Of course, it's done. So, I was quick about it.
And the actual ticket is actual portal. In this case, it's just a blank. We joked about saying that we have actually purposefully made it as ugly as possible because we want to show people that this is not the final CSS and final styling. Obviously, the portal ticket, the portal will be styled to fit what you guys need, and there's the full capability to do any styling with divs and classes and so on. So we have a lot of control. So we purposefully kept it blank. So in this case, I'm also going to come into what variations we have for login and stuff like that. In this case, we're just doing an email address. So in this email address, I can now log in and I will get a list of all the tickets belonging to Lucas and where Lucas is a collaborator. So this is the ticket 1 that we were talking about. So if I click ticket 1, it brings me straight into the information. We get the ticket number, which happens to be the item ID in Monday, the name, a long description, the type, the status, deadline. Frederick, you being responsible for this, right? Like we discussed. And then we see the communication that we had. And test reply, as you see, there's actually a file. And when I click the file, it does a download for me. So I can actually access files. I know we just emailing a file with the monday.com email integration is not that easy.
Not as click.
No. In this case, you can actually obviously we wanted to give as many options as possible. So it could be saying like, hey, Lucas, thank you for this. In order to process your request, we need you to fill out this waiver form or this other form for us to get all the information we need. And then you can distribute it easily. We can then fill it out, and then we can submit it back with a reply and just hit submit.
We actually got a question here now. What software is used to build the portal?
So right now it's in Vercel, but it's a code that's transferable and it can be self-hosted. So we don't need to host the portal for you. You can self-host it as well and run it with on your servers. Currently, Vercel that's powering this demo environment because that's the easiest one for us to set up.
So, and from what I see here, of course, I get some information and I can also upload files. I can't only receive files, I can also add files. For all of you, those of you who don't speak Swedish, Thomas' computer has actually put in välj fil, which means choose a file.
Yeah, this is localized because it's using basic web browser technology. Yeah. So I write a comment on the portal, right? Submit. What now happened is that ticket 1, I write a comment on the portal by LukeBot, which is named after the guy who wrote all the make scripts. So LukeBot got it out here, and so quite nifty in that regards.
Yeah, and as we see, the response time is quite snappy.
Yeah, it goes, and then we can say, I answered in Monday.com and everyone was happy. Update. Right, and so let's go back to this little schematic here. So when I now make the update, I could toggle it to say, send an email and saying, hey, Thomas, you have a new reply to your ticket X, Y, and Z. In that email, I can insert a link straight to the ticket as well, making it so I jump into the ticket instead of landing into the login page. So I don't even need to land in the login page.
So you can basically skip all of that, just get in there and make it really, really easy for your colleague or client or, yeah.
Exactly. So I write something in the update generates a webhook, Make pulls it up and populates the portal. And we actually, I think currently, we're using Make to send the email and it arrives at the person's. So let's see here. I answered at Monday.com, everyone was happy. And then I refresh now, but we just have clicked the link and you see there's my comment. Everything's there.
Really, really, really great. And it solves a really big problem driving Monday as an ITS basically, and really getting into that communication with your clients.
Yeah, I also like the fact that you do get quite a nice little, if you're someone who submitted a lot of tickets and you want to follow them up. And obviously, like we said, we're going to go into the variations later, but we could do email, ticket number combination, username and password, single sign-on. We have this is just a simple one, right? Because we don't want to weigh it down with this. So as you see, my tickets, my collaboration tickets. So these are the ones I've submitted. Those are the ones that someone else submitted and said I'm involved in.
Yeah, that's really great because it's really nifty to know, say you're a manager and you're using this for internal purposes, for example, ordering computers or phones or whatever from the IT department. It's really nice as a manager. Yeah, I know where I'm a collaborator. Just so basically I'm there for the information or when it's this my specific order and stuff like that. So
And we also have let's talk about some support functions where individual people within your client can submit tickets, but then you have one person or a few people within your client organization that wants to be able to check all ongoing tickets that they have with your service. You can still take care of that. And if you know those rules, you can build. So if a ticket is submitted by this domain, you always fill out another field. So those people will get a very big comprehensive list, of course.
Yeah, that's true. So say, for example, you have Volvo. Let's use a Swedish example here. And then as soon as someone emails from an @volvo.com address, basically route that person in as a stakeholder to being just having all of that. Yeah, that's really, really great.
Exactly. Like I said, we can click it in. We see this is also some replies a few hours ago.
So we actually got a question here, which actually might suit fine here. So Kerry asked, is it possible to generate tickets created via email as well, or only via the form?
No, so really, look at this. Let me just log out. So this is the form, right? But I can do manually. I still need to put my email address over here, or the client in this case, and that's what you won't get any columns filled out if this is generated by email, correct? Right?
Otherwise, you will have a major headache trying to parse a pure text email.
So, but if you have some kind of email parser, you could have this sent over email. To be honest, there actually is a good email parser with Make. So you could have all the emails going into Make, parceling it so you get at least the sender's information and maybe all the people that are CC'd over here.
And the description would be an email body.
Yeah, that will be the body of the email. So at least you get some more information, right? But not the full one.
No, so for example, the type. So if this is say you're that or ordering department in your company, again, you couldn't be choosing. This is an order for a cell phone or an order for a computer. That you might have problem mapping in, but that, on the other hand, could be added manually by the operator.
Yeah, definitely, because someone still needs to be assigned. You still need to give a status and stuff like that, and it's not a big hassle in that regards, right? So these items in here can be generating any way we want. In theory, this could be a shareable board with our clients, and then we have the portal for someone else to just look at everything. I'm just saying that there's no big limitations on it, to be honest. And when we now log in, let's have a look, see what happens. And now ticket generated manually, date is missing, uncategorized, not started, because that's what we had over here. So we can go to Gustav, we can have working on it, type 2, and then now let's set a deadline. And why not also say, hey, can you please tell me if you want X or Y, right?
We actually got a few questions here as well. So Sarah wonders, what is the benefit between tracking all of your tickets on the Omnitas portal versus filtering on Monday? Is it just to solve the transparency between the two applications, or reports being created out of Omnitas?
Well, if I'm an operator like Thomas Carlson working at Omnitas, and this is my Monday board where I do case management, the portal is not for me. The portal is for whoever I'm managing the cases against, and I don't want to let them into Monday, or viewer permission is not enough because I actually need them to communicate with me, or I need them to change some column values.
Exactly.
And now let's just go back and say, let's jump into this ticket. everything is now filled in as you see, as suggested.
We have one more question. From the question about, would it be possible to reopen a closed ticket automatically when a customer send a new email after the case is closed?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this status is currently set manually, but since all of these updates from the portal, right, you write something in the portal, it goes in here, that goes through Make, so we can also make sure that when we write that update, if the status is set to done, change it. And right now, it could be just as you said. It can actually be better to have closed as a status instead. But you could, since we're already using Make, like I said, the Make is what's creating all the comments here. That's Lookbot, so this is the client, right? And when you print Lookbot, we could make it so if the status is closed, change it to working on it automatically.
That's awesome. Have another question from Matthew. How long are tickets stored? Does it show all of my tickets forever, or can it be configured to only show, for example, last 3 months? Can you build in a survey for feedback?
So right now, the way we have configured it, it will load all the tickets that are relevant for the search for us. We can add in business rules as well, because all of this logic is sitting in Make, and it's basically just saying filter the search result based on this parameter, and that parameter could be that it cannot be older than 3 months. And you could also have it so when you log in, let me just log in here and show you. Right now, we are dividing this by my tickets and collaboration. We could have it open tickets here and closed tickets down here, and we could even have even longer or old tickets further down, or however we want to do it. So that's really that's a configuration part. What was the second part of the question? Was that the survey?
Can you build in a survey for feedback?
Yes, so how we can do it in a few different ways, right? One would be when the status changes to closed, a new email is sent to the person with the survey, obviously a Monday work form or any third-party service tool, survey tool that you want. It could also be that on a closed ticket, we could actually have a new field where we say, please let us know 1 to 5 how well you appreciated how you got along, right? And all in the end, all that had to do or be was that could just be rating columns, right? Saying so you can actually see the client feedback straight in. So that could be definitely built in, and then you just bring that in as a column value here, and you allow them to change it. Because right now, this is read-only, right? We're just fetching the data. The only thing we're allowing them to do in this example is to communicate and upload files.
Yeah, so there's basically a plethora of different ways. So basically make a proper survey, for example, in Monday, have that set and have that actually connected to the ticket. You can backtrack everything as well, perhaps to a client roster if you want as well, so you can see over time, or doing it the easier route, or anything in between, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess that's the power of Monday and Make both, because it really gives you a lot of leeway to do basically what you want and what you need.
These are just a list of some of the things that we can configure here. We could, from a login perspective, we could remove the whole login and just use URL sending you straight to the ticket. We can have email as the sole variable that you enter, just like you saw in this demo. We could have it so you need to enter your ticket number. We could have 2 factors or 2 variables, email plus ticket number, or if we want to create a username and password in some combination, we can use that as well. And if you use it internally within your company, It's even possible to connect this to a single sign-on against your Active Directory. So if you're not authorized in the AD, you don't even get to access the tickets, even if your name is on one of the tickets, right? So that's the login screen that we were talking about. Those are the variations we are allowing there. On the ticket page itself, we can, of course, allow for two-way communication, two-way file sharing. We can choose which columns to display, because we don't need to display all the columns that we have in the board. So we can have external columns, we can have internal columns, just so you bear that in mind. And we can also allow if this column should be changeable or not. So those two together gives a lot of freedom. Then when we talk about the portal in general, you have, do you want a list view, yes or no? The list view was that when you logged in, you saw all my tickets, right? That would be the list view. Or, and do you want a detailed ticket view, yes or no? Because some organizations might just want to present the list saying, these are your tickets, these are the statuses. Don't try to click them because nothing will happen, but you can see your ticket right in the list view. So you can either have only the list view, you can either have only the detailed ticket view where you probably need a URL to get straight to your ticket, or you can have the combination that we just showed. We can group the tickets in any way that fits your needs. Currently, it's grouped on my tickets and collaboration tickets. It can be open, it can be closed, it can be any other kind of tickets. We could have grouped them by type, so saying this is your type 1, this is your type 2 tickets, and so on. And we also obviously have full CSS styling capability. So it doesn't have to look this ugly as it does.
But that was intentional.
Yes.
Look and feel like your company, both for internal and especially external users.
Yes.
Should it be someone else's? We have that question from Tony, and he's wondering a bit, what is the benefit of doing this versus just getting Zendesk on the side?
Well, Zendesk is a really good ticketing system. I mean, it has a portal-like feature. You do need to have a login with username and password unless you use the URL. Zendesk is another system. So if you want to connect your tickets to your clients, to your work, to your CRM that you probably have in Monday, then you're going to have to integrate Zendesk in Monday. This will allow you to run it straight onto Monday. But basically, it's a smart question, Tony, because what we're doing is we're actually creating Zendesk capability on top of Monday.com.
Exactly. And it's all about that, not having 15 different softwares running license costs and a hassle logging in, logging out, and basically ending the day with like 20 different tabs of different systems you're working in and trying to make life a bit easier for everyone to be able to run that. And that is actually one of the biggest benefits, because if you have all your support cases in one system, then you have CRM data, project data, or client, everything else that pertains to a client, some other place, example, in Monday, then you're never going to get that whole picture, at least not without running heavy integrations between the systems.
And I mean, we didn't develop this because we thought it was a fun thing. We developed this because we have seen a lot of need, a lot of requests in this category. So obviously there is a big demand of being able to present some kind of portal on top of Monday.com. Right now we're calling it ticketing, but you could have it as a product list as well. I mean, whatever your item represent is what it will be that kind of portal, right? So you could have your whole product catalog actually in this ticketing portal environment. Same thing, instead of having tickets, it would be items that are available for everyone, either off the login or without logging in, and then you can get different data metrics on those different products.
which could be really, really nice. With that, could you build in, say you have a rather long product list, could you build in a search perhaps or something like that, or to make it a bit easier?
A filter, a search, that's not a problem. So basically, what we're showing is the ability to use Monday.com, thanks to Make, to generate content that is available externally that someone can interact with, that in turn generates input back into Monday. That's if we take away all the fluff, that's what we have created. A way of visualizing Monday.com outside of Monday.com, but not as a shareable board view that's not interactable, but it's actually something you can interact with.
Javier wonders, would it be possible to have a direct webhook to Monday from Make so you can trigger changes within Monday to Make in real time?
I don't think I'm following the questions, because all the changes that you do on the ticket will be reflected both ways live.
Yeah, and they are built with webhooks, I presume, without having been looking under the hood.
Yeah, so everything is already built with webhooks. So when I do an update, I write an update, that sends a webhook. And when I change a column value, that sends a webhook, and it be picked up by Make.
And vice versa.
The answer to your question is then yes.
Yeah, and vice versa. If I do something in the portal as a submittee, that creates or sends a webhook into Make and make the changes in Monday. So
you saw it was quite instantaneously when I wrote something in the portal. I just changed tab, went to that item, and the comment was there already from Lookbot.
Your follow-up on that was, I didn't know Make has real-time webhooks for Monday. They're called Watch Event in Make. And we have a webinar on our website, omnitas.se. Last webinar, actually, that was specifically about webhooks and Monday.com. So please check that out. And that's actually the Luke bot talking.
Yeah, it was. Something to mention on this is that it used to be webhooks in Integromat, but when we moved to Make, we actually have a special module within the Monday.com app inside of Make that allows us to watch for changes instantly.
Exactly.
Any more questions in the chat?
Yeah, actually came one from Jeffrey. Would it be possible to add a column to copy email to in order to reply to more than one user?
Yeah, I mean, this could be a configuration as well. So let me bring you back to the Monday, right? We can either configure it so it only sends the email to this column, or it sends the email to all the people we have in the stakeholder column. We could also have additional email columns that gets filled out automatically based on any of the other variables as well. So again, since we are already have Make in the mix, we are not limited by how Monday.com email columns and mirroring work. We have full freedom of create any kind of lookup or rules or matrix of relationships.
So, for example, back to that domain check, doing that domain check could actually add a person in automatically. So, okay, this is from volvo.com. Okay, then I should add in Peter at volvo.com, for example. And I will always do that when it's a volvo.com, for example. He's always going to be the stakeholder because he needs to know or whatever. So I actually play around quite a bit with email workings within Make and Monday as a combination. There's not much you can't do, really. Just have a go at it.
I just came up with a new use case for the portal. We could have someone requesting work by filling out some variables. We have additional columns that in turn presents the quote. Once you fill it out, you change the status, you get an email saying, hey, come in, go in, check out your quote and approve it. And then you can have questions and conversations about the quote through the portal, but you can allow a status column for them to be changed as the approval or rejection of the quote. That can, of course, as well be done in a shareable board, definitely, if you want a portal with your own style and you don't want to invite your clients to yet another system with username and password, that could work.
One thing, going back to that first use case you were talking about, so you are ordering marketing assets and stuff like that. Quite often happens that you have one person ordering something, but one other person should be the recipient of the done asset. And that could also be, so you can have that all communication is going through the ordering person and up until the point it is closed or done. So we are delivering the asset, and then that the second person actually gets the first email, and here you can go in and download the assets.
You can use it for approvals.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, again, anything that you want to project outside of Monday with a higher level of interactability than one of the shareable views, you can use the portal.
So basically, your imagination is what's going to set the limits to this. Would that be a fair statement?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is typical Omnitas, right? Where you haven't built a cookie cutter system for you. We built a framework that we, just like Monday, can take different pieces, different aspects, and create different effects to solve a multitude of use cases instead of making a very rigid, non-changeable, only ticketing portal.
That actually is quite a typical of us.
Yeah, it is.
So here's the basic, or here's the framework. It has all the bells and whistles. Now let's tweak it to match you exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And this also means that obviously this portal is not something that's going to be on the Monday.com app store. It's not just an install and then it goes. You do need to talk to us. We have the framework, but we need to do tweaks per each client that wants to use it.
So if this is something you're interested in, please give either Thomas or me an email or a call, and you find all of our contact details on our website, omnitas.se, or it's just Fredrik@Omnitas or Thomas@Omnitas. So that's where you find all our contact details. So just sling us a mail and we'll talk about what your needs are and think we can do to get you installed.